associates. All right, so this is just the video walkthrough explaining the analysis essay of your industry. This assignment is just a little bit, you can think of it as a warm-up to writing. So it's much more of just a traditional essay kind of format. So I can get a sense and you can sort of get back into that rhythm of organizing work as well as synthesizing some data, and we can start working on things like citations and whatnot. Also, this is going to contribute potentially to your final project if you can kind of identify some areas or topics that you might want to research through this assignment. So basically, you're going to summarize the state of your future industry or career. If you are unsure of what your career is going to be, to understand, I changed my major like 5 times when I was an undergrad and thought about a lot of different careers and industries. So that's fine. Just use this assignment to explore one of these industries or careers then. There's one key task that you need to do, right? So you need to first identify and then outline the chain of positions for your career choice, right? And so obviously when we go into the workforce, you have to start at usually like an entry-level type position, maybe mid-level if you sort of get in at a smaller company or something. But you start at an entry level, then you get promoted after a couple years to sort of this mid-level, and then after you have 5 or 6 years of experience, that's when you can start looking and applying towards more of those senior level positions. So I just want you to go ahead and identify what some of those position titles are and what that general progression looks like for your career. Now, there are a few industries where that progression doesn't exist quite as strongly. Things like education, right? You kind of just get your teaching degree and then are just a teacher, and there's not as much of a progression. So if that's the case, then just explain that. Like whatever the career progression is, explain it, right? So tell me what are entry level, what are mid level, what does a senior position look like, what are they usually called? Kind of focus on those titles, which will help you when you're job searching later. If you already kind of know, oh, well, mid-level tends to be called coordinators or managers, supervisors, and maybe senior level tends to be called, directors and associates and partners and whatnot. Okay, so then after you identify those chains of positions and explain it, you need to investigate the trends and challenges. So I have some questions that I'd like you to answer as you're trying to research the trends and challenges in your field. So it's things like the industry outlook, especially with things like employment and growth, particularly if there's an area of the country that you want to live in. I want you to look into, okay, the East Coast has the highest job growth numbers, the Southwest has the lowest, etc. Kind of start to identify where those opportunities exist and don't. I want you to talk about and overview some of the skills, requirements connected to the different titles. So, what kind of things you need to do to reach that senior level position when you start out as entry level. What is the average salary for each title and starting salary? And then also what qualities would make an individual well suited for this industry. All right, so you can imagine the audience for your essay as potential recruits into your industry. So maybe you're developing this short 1 to 2 page essay to give to, a high school career counselor. So that way they can help their students, their graduating seniors, decide on what career paths they want to go in. That's kind of how you might structure and talk about the essay. Of course, you need to include good topic sentences, transitions for your ideas, have supporting details, cite, the stats, the information, where you got this from, all the elements of a strong, technical writer start to do here, so I can give you some feedback on it. Choose an organizational strategy that sort of flows topically and works for you, and make sure that, the essay just has really strong readability. That's what I'm going to be looking for in particular. Now, the minimum requirements that you need to have, right? Paragraphs, full sentences. This is an essay, so write an essay, not just bullet points or anything. You might have a few bullet points as a document design feature if it helps, but really you need to have like paragraphs and full sentences so I can get a sense of your writing, voice, and baseline and abilities. And then also you need to cite at least a minimum 2 sources, right, in the work itself, so author, year, etc., or you could use footnotes and provide a reference list of where you got the stats and data from. And basically you'll be practicing, right, constructing, organizing an essay, editing on various levels, and synthesizing a lot of information with the hopes that you'll have some more realistic career expectations, just for your future career growth. I know there's a lot of times where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be X and they get paid this much, but do you have to work in the industry for 10 years before you reach kind of those salary levels or that position? So just make sure that you are explaining in this nice essay as if you're writing it to a high school senior or maybe a first year student, in college. They could read this essay from you and understand what your industry is and what it looks like and what to expect. And then also, more importantly, you're going to practice, outlining a short essay and kind of getting to that writing groove. Makes sense? Awesome. All right. Let me know if you have questions. See ya.